The island of Hispaniola houses the two nations of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Both of these countries are actually quite different despite being on the same island. So how did it get this way? Well, in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue to discover Hispaniola, which he claimed for the Spanish Empire. Shortly after this, many natives would die due to conflict and disease, and interest in the island declined due to other places in the Americas becoming more profitable. Fast forward to 1697, and France got the western portion of the island. This side would eventually become Haiti and was a very lucrative slave colony for France, mainly producing sugar and coffee. At the time, 40% of Europe's sugar and 60% of Europe's coffee came from Haiti. Meanwhile, things on the Spanish side weren't going so well. As Spain had gone into an economic depression, the DR experienced a declining population and many natural disasters occurred. Later in Haiti, tensions were building between the slaves and France due to horrible working conditions and new ideas from Europe about independence. This caused the tensions to reach a boiling point, triggering the Haitian Revolution. Eventually, the slaves didn't take control of just Haiti, but the entire island. Haiti declared independence, and in exchange for France recognizing them as a country, Haiti would have to pay huge reparation costs for the revolution. This debt wouldn't be completely paid off until 122 years later, causing the country to become impoverished and would never completely recover. The DR then broke away from Haiti, leading both sides to go to war, but in the end, nobody won, and it left both sides in debt. After the start of World War I, the US took control of Hispaniola for fear of the growing German influence on the island. They would leave the DR a decade later and Haiti a decade after that. In 1930, this guy took over the DR for over 30 years, and although a dictator, he actually did pretty good for the economy. That wasn't until he started going too far and he was assassinated, entering the country into a civil war. For fear of the communists taking control, the US re-entered and stayed in the country until a president the US liked was put in power. The time had finally come and a Democratic president got elected. This caused the economy to boom and become what it is today. Back to 1957, this guy and his son would become president of Haiti for 30 years until he stepped down. A new president was elected, which was then kicked out by the military, prompting US intervention, which reinstated him. After this, Haiti would suffer many natural disasters. Despite this, today Haiti's economy has also boomed, just not quite to the scale of the DR's. Haiti got its name from the Taino word for the entire island of Hispaniola, meaning land of mountains. The Dominican Republic got its name from Santo Domingo de Guzman, or Saint Dominic, who is the patron saint of astronomers and founded the Dominican order. This order established a university on the island in the city of Santo Domingo. This guy is also the reason for the country's previous colonial names. Also, Hispaniola got its name from Columbus when he first arrived, calling it the Spanish island, which would later be shortened to Hispaniola. According to the Human Development Index, the Dominican Republic leads the way on Hispaniola, having comparable living conditions to China and Brazil. Meanwhile, Haiti is on par with countries like Ethiopia and Afghanistan. Haiti is a semi-presidential republic, and according to the Democracy Index, Haiti is about as democratic as Pakistan or Turkey. Meanwhile, the DR has a representative democracy and is about as democratic as India, Brazil, and Mexico. Despite only occupying about 1/3 of the island, Haiti ranks higher in population than the DR, with it recently surpassing them due to having a higher birth rate. Haiti has a population of 11.4 million, while the DR has 10.9 million, making Hispaniola the 10th most populated island in the world at 22.3 million. The majority of Haitians are black, making up 95% of the country, while Dominicans are a mix of ethnicities with 70% mixed, 16% black, and 14% white. Switching to religion, Haiti is a majority Christian nation at 86%, with 57% being Catholic and 29% Protestant. 11% are atheists, with the rest following others like Voodoo, Baha'i, Islam, etc. The DR is also majority Christian at 69%, with 48% being Catholic and 21% Protestant, with 28% being atheists and 3% following others like Voodoo, Judaism, Islam, etc. Both Spain and France are majority Catholic countries, meaning that most missionaries that went to the colonies were Catholic, hence why the countries are majority Catholic. The official languages of Haiti are Haitian Creole and French, while the DR's is Spanish. Over 95% of Haitians can speak Haitian Creole, meanwhile only 5% can speak French. Over 90% of Dominicans can speak Spanish, and there are small minorities that can speak Haitian Creole, Samana English, etc. And if you're a tourist that doesn't know any of these languages but English, you'll find that almost nobody speaks it in Haiti, and about 10 to 15% of Dominicans can. More touristy hotspots have more English speakers though. 61% can read and write in Haiti, while 92% can in the DR. Fun fact about Haitian Creole: it's a mix of French and other African languages, and it is now different enough from French that both Haitian Creole and French speakers can't understand each other. To find out where everyone lives, first we gotta look at the physical geography of Hispaniola. Hispaniola is a tropical island situated in the middle of the Caribbean on two fault lines. Being on the same island, Haiti and the Dominican Republic Republic have virtually the same geography and climate. Its land is made up of mountain ranges, long valleys, and plains. About 85% of Hispaniola is forested, but in recent years, mass deforestation has caused only 41% of the DR's land to be forested, while Haiti's forest coverage is widely contested, with some sources saying it's up to 30% and as low as 3%. If it's 3%, then Haiti's forest coverage would be less than the UAE's, and if it was 30%, it would be comparable to France. Just comparing what the countries look like, I'd probably say it's at least not as low as 3%, but hey, that's just me. Other than that, all of the other sources that I've seen agree that the DR is more forested than Haiti. Fun fact, but not really. This difference in forest has actually led to their borders becoming visible from space. The reason for this deforestation in Haiti is due to their main energy source being charcoal. I suck at pronunciation, so I'm just gonna show you a map and list of the 10 biggest cities on the island. And if we look at a population map, we can see that Haiti looks a lot more red in general than the DR. This is because Haiti is more densely populated and less urbanized at 43% compared to the DR's 17%. Haitians that move out of the country mainly move to the US and the DR, with significant minorities in other parts of North America. I actually couldn't find any statistics about people moving to Haiti, so I'm just gonna move on. People that leave the DR mainly go to the US, with other minorities going to Western Europe. Most of the people that come to the DR are Haitians, with the others coming from other Latin American countries. The economy of Haiti is mainly based on agriculture, and the DR's is tourism. Before the pandemic, Haiti had a GDP of 14 billion, while the DR had a GDP of 89 billion. Similar story with GDP per capita, with an average Haitian making about $1,300 a year, and Dominicans making about $8,300. 59% of Haitians currently live under the poverty line, with 24% in extreme poverty. 40% of Dominicans live in poverty, with 10% in extreme poverty. Both economies have grown a lot within the past 20 years, with the DR growing at an average rate of 15% every year, with Haiti not too far behind at 12%. In the end, both of these countries are great in their own ways, with history, economy, name, or development. But what can't be denied is both of these countries are beautiful in their own unique way that no other place can replicate. Huge thanks to Mr. Beat for this idea. Go sub to his channel. This video would literally not be possible without him. Thank you all for the insane support recently, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.